All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Legends and Leads. This is a podcast really about one thing: how great companies are actually built. Not just the theory, but real decisions, pivots, marketing bets, and the leadership lessons behind them. Today, we're starting with a topic that's changing faster than really anything we've seen since search engines replaced the yellow pages. AI is reshaping the marketing funnel, search behavior is changing, lead quality is shifting, and conversion paths are getting messy. So, to help unpack it, I'm joined by Tommy Mello, founder of A1 Garage Door, which has grown to over $300 million. A true industry thought leader, legend, and juggernaut. Tommy, welcome to Legends and Leads.
Hey, excited to be here. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. So you built A1 into a $300 million business. Let's rewind a little bit. If you were starting A1 from zero today in an AI first world, would you have done anything differently?
Well, yeah, number one, I think most people start a business without enough money. They don't understand recruiting or training. They don't start with the right CRMs. And, now I say A1 Garage Door Service is a technology company that does garage doors. We could apply this to any service. One thing I've learned over the years is ruthlessly prioritize. So instead of a lot of garage door guys do new construction, they do retail, they do home warranty, they do box stores, they do commercial, and they don't know where the money's coming from. They don't have the right CFO. They don't have the right bookkeepers. I would say the main thing is double down on training and recruiting, finding the right people. Get profitable. A lot of people brag about revenue. Revenue's for vanity, profits for sanity. Get profitable. Profit's what makes everything happen. It's what allows you to recruit the right people. And I mean, I've got a lot of connections now, but you need money to start a business. You can't start it with nothing. You're going to put it either into dollars and cents or sweat equity.
Yep.
So you could buy time and you could buy a lot of the things you need. You could buy the right marketing. You could buy the newer trucks. You could buy the right trainers. So, yeah, I think I would probably have saved a lot more than I did when I initially started. But I worked 3 jobs throughout the first 3 years just to make ends meet.
Got it. So, real interesting. I love that tagline, by the way. And when you think about the inflection point when the business really took off, is it something you just mentioned there, or is there something else that when you say kind of doing 3 jobs, working hard, and then kind of really transforming it into what it is today? What was that inflection point where it really started to take off?
Yeah, so 2017, there's 3 things. Number one, Service Titan was a really great CRM for HVAC, plumbing, electrical. They wouldn't let me on the software. I got a hold of the CEO and founder, Ara, and I convinced him to let us get into this, to use Service Titan. And what that meant is I had attribution. Now I have 7,000 call tracking numbers. I learned what marketing was working. I knew my KPIs. So that was like a big, big shift. Now I had control of the business. I knew the math to make it better. I knew where my shortcomings were. Number 2, I started a podcast. And in that podcast, I got to get everybody and anybody. If I had an HR question, or how do I depreciate trucks, or how do you get the best recruiters? So many things I didn't know, I used the podcast to learn about. And then number 3, I hired a consultant. His name's L. Levy. He wrote the 7 Power Contractor. And he's like, where's your manuals? Where's your standard operating procedures? Show me your systems. Where's your checklists? I had none of that stuff. It was all in my brain. So we worked for 2 years and cataloged everything and created systems and processes to get the expected outcome I wanted. And with his help, it became more of a system ran business than I was a firefighter. I was a good firefighter. I could put out fires. I walked in. I was wanted. I had a big ego. And then I learned, what if I left for a month? Would the company still run? And I'm proud to say now I could leave for a year and we wouldn't skip a beat.
That's awesome. I think we hear that a lot, right? You have founder-led businesses that take on a lot. And I guess when you think about the marketing element of that, it sounds like attribution, understanding that technology, making everything accessible. But is there anything else you understood about marketing before others didn't, specifically in your space?
Well, I decided in 2010, I got my mom to move out from Michigan and help me with the business. And I went to an MBA program at U of A, University of Arizona. And I sat down with these younger guys, and I sat down at this round table for dinner, and I said, "What do you guys do for a living?" And they said, "We all do search engine optimization for the Marriott." This you're looking at the team, and I go, "So how does search engine optimization work?" This was kind of the new term for me. And they said, "Well, we build backlinks, we build schema data and metadata and H1 tags, and we help you get found on Google." So I sat down with them every night when we went to school, and I started understanding how to get found. And I learned how to edit videos and get reviews and get Yelp reviews and get on the citation sites. I learned that on your Google My Business page, you should never have 9 to 5. You should be open 24/7 and take calls. So I say one of the biggest things I've done is success leaves clues. I've been in Valpak since the day I got into business, and I'm doing better with Valpak than I've ever done. We meet each month. I give them all the data. They build these prisms. The comm is better than PPC by far. And I've just learned to follow, like if there's somebody that's killing it at Yelp, I'll find the number one home service company on Yelp. They might be in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I will fly out there and I'll learn from them. Angie's List, Thumbtack, PPC, LSA, Google My Business. Even things like right now we're going heavy into affiliate marketing and influencer marketing.
Yep.
And I'm not trying to learn this stuff and buy a book. I'm just going to somebody that's already done it. And I think that's the key of what I learned the most is like, go out there, find somebody that's been where you want to go, ask for help, go with a smile, buy everybody lunch, read their books, go in with humility. And most of the time they'll say yes.
Yeah, I love that. I think, a lot of businesses, specifically, I know yours and the timeline that you conceived and grew it, kind of grew up in the performance marketing era with Google, Facebook, tracking every click. And to your point about Valpak, we appreciate your partnership and everything that we do together. Was there a time that you realized, I guess, you like to try everything, you funnel down, you look at attribution, you see what works, what doesn't. What was there, what was that moment where you realized performance marketing alone wasn't the answer and that you needed a kind of healthy mix of tactics to start trying things that may not have been traditionally used in that industry?
Yeah, so interesting. There's this company called Gettle and Ken Goodrich, and I got to know Ken really good. And when he rebranded from this company called Kick Charge Creative, Dan Antonelli, they put him as a kid holding a flashlight. And the story was, hey, when I was a kid, I used to hold a flashlight for my dad when he'd fix the air conditioning unit. And they told stories. And he blasted the radio and started doing TV. And I'd see his truck. Then I'd look up and see a billboard. Then I'd hear him on the radio. Then I'd see him on TV. Then I see a guy at a gas station. And I'm like, and I talked to one of his top sales reps, and he goes, Tommy, when we started branding correctly and investing in top of the funnel, our conversion rate went up dramatically. The average ticket went up. The cancellation rate went down. And so I went to Kick Charge. They built me a good brand. And then I started doing a lot of top of the funnel. But by the way, it's very hard to get attribution from TV. You could do some direct response stuff, but TV, radio, and billboards, you're going to see Valpak do better. You're going to see Clipper do better. You're going to see your PPC campaigns do a lot better. So and what else happened is like all of a sudden people were like, we want to work for you. We see you invest in the company. We see you everywhere. This is a company that's growing. So I got better at talent recruitment. But people believe in us. They see us in their neighborhoods. They hear the stories I tell on the radio of my mom and how much I love my mom. And she came and helped me build this business. And they're like, this is a good company. Like we relate to that story. So direct response is great. PPC is great. But what if somebody's garage door broke or their air conditioning goes out and they thought of you and they type you into Google, they type you into Bing, or they just find you? The marketing gets really, really affordable. And all the KPIs that go into performance go up. So I think that's something that a lot of people are like, I just can't afford. And a lot of people spray and pray. They throw this into this radio station. They try a TV commercial for two months, and then they'll do a billboard for 3 months. Like this takes a year of consistent spending for people because they're not calling you right away. The garage door breaks 6 months after they hear all your ads and they keep hearing you. And then they say, who's that? Yeah, A1 from day one. Those guys. Those are the guys we like. So you got to believe that it's going to happen and it will happen. It just takes time to see the results.
Yeah, I love that because building the brand and the recognition of the brand really does help when that worst moment of somebody's life when it's 7 a.m. and they're sitting in their garage and it's not opening and they're thinking, how do I have somebody come and repair it? If you're kind of top of mind for them and they've seen you, it really does aid the search. So, I appreciate your perspective there. Thinking a little bit about the shift that's happening now. I'm going to throw some data points out to you because I know AI is top of mind for a lot of people, and we're trying to figure out how it plays, what role it plays. So a couple stats, 50% of Google searches are now showing AI summaries. Around 60% of searches end without a click. Only 1% of website traffic is coming from AI referrals. And 27% of business owners say customer acquisition costs are rising pretty significantly. So whereas Google used to be a search engine, still is, AI is really becoming more of a decision engine where it's kind of giving you a recommendation without making the consumer have to really go much further than the top of the page. So what are you seeing on the front lines as it relates to some of these AI trends that are emerging now?
Some of it's a lot of noise. I mean, most of AI summaries are research based. Those are the majority of searches. But when it's intent based, it's a lot different. Google won't make money if they're not doing PPC and LSA. Google's number one thing is to drive profit for their shareholders. So they're still going to make as much freaking revenue as possible and have people clicking on the paid stuff. So don't let anything fool you on that aspect. The LLMs are great. We do a lot of things right now. We reverse engineered a lot of the LLMs, how they populate, and we're putting a lot of time and effort into that because we're a big company. We've got 1,200 people. We've got a big marketing team. We've got a lot of great vendors. But I still go to Google if I need something because if you go to ChatGPT or Grok or any of these other tools, Claude, what you do is they'll come up with different answers every time. I want to see something I could believe. I want to look at genuine reviews with pictures in them. I want to know real customer feedback. I want to know why they're better. I want to do a little bit of research. And I'm always, usually from my house, I get a few estimates or I know the person or they built enough trust in the community. So I think a lot of people are focused on the wrong things. Like I've got a massive door-to-door team with 500 people. We'll probably be 5,000 people. Door-to-door still works.
Yep.
I mean, I think like a magician has you looking over here. Oh, AI is changing everything. You need to be looking at what's still going to work and what's AI not going to change. So a lot of people are worried. The worst thing you could do if you're in the home service or in business in general is cut your marketing spend when things aren't going right. That's when you double down. The death spiral is how you go bankrupt, is when you lower your marketing spend. When it's going bad is when you increase it and trim the fat. And you might be loyal to the people around you, but they got to be loyal back. They need to perform. They need to come to training.
Yep.
So you get rid of your worst CSRs. You get rid of your worst dispatchers, your worst technicians and installers. You trim a little fat in the office, and you invest more in marketing. And that's how you win.
Well, you brought up something really interesting when you talked about obviously Google is going to maximize profits and they're an engine set up to do that. As we think about cost per click, what have you seen in the last 5-year trend in terms of, keywords that are important to you, different geographic searches? Like, what have you seen in terms of rising costs in that space? And has it been commensurate with kind of leads that you're still seeing come in and really impact the business?
Yeah. So every company's kind of built a little bit differently. So we know the keywords that actually we've got UTM parameters. We've got programmatic ways to find out what keywords actually turn into real money. I mean, I can get you 100 leads a day, but what if they're remote calls to get batteries for your garage door opener? Those don't turn into any money. Hey, go to Ace Hardware, get this AAA battery, whatever. So you got to be able to follow the funnel all the way through to know where the money's coming in. The thing is, I'm at a 91% booking rate. We dispatch for dollars. So we know how to send the right technicians to the right jobs. We've got a lot of capacity because we've got 2 shifts. We go late in the night and early in the morning. We work Saturdays and Sundays and holidays. So it's hard to compete. Who could pay more per lead will win. Well, if I'm booking higher, I'm converting more and I'm offering more because we offer a lot. I don't sell things people need. I sell things people want. And there's a big distinction there. There are a lot of losers say we only sell things people need. I don't need an automatic shut-off valve on my pipes, but that's going to lower my insurance. And if I don't want my house to flood, so I'm going to buy that. I didn't need that. I wanted that. So the whole conversion cycle, if we win that game, we could pay more per lead. So I hope prices double. I hope it gets super expensive because I'm going to win that game all day. My guys are training every single day. We're offering more. Instead of giving my clients ultimatums to say yes or no, that you might say, well, that's more than I wanted to spend today. Well, let's just pick a contractor solution. We're going to figure out how to earn your business today. And that's the difference. And I want to turn every client into a lifelong client, the LTV, lifetime value of the client.
Yeah.
And I want to build a relationship and treat them like I want to, like my mom worked 3 jobs when I was a kid. I love my mom. I want to treat clients like mom. I want to build a relationship with them. And I want to treat them the best way possible. But when everybody's complaining, it's getting expensive. I'm like, yeah, but you're paying your call center rep $12, $15, $20 an hour. Mine make way more than that because the call is everything. And we treat them important when we're on the phone with empathy. And then we dispatch for dollars. And then we show up and we offer coffee on the way. We knock the door because strangers ring the doorbell. We play with the dog. We explain to them their options. And people are like, yeah, it makes sense. Let's do business with you. And if you manage those KPIs correctly, I don't care what the prices are because my competitors are all complaining that we charge too much and they don't even know. They've never met me. They've never been to our training center. And they're just going to go bankrupt. And they're going to go in their mom's basement and complain all day while we're still able to afford. If ChatGPT comes out with a paid, we're going to be on there. If Grok comes out with paid, we're going to be on there. We could afford it.
Yep.
Because we really pay attention. Each and every call is very, very important. We're going to run it on the client schedule, and we're going to figure out a way to earn their business. And we've got the most affordable solutions. That's what they don't understand.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, really, the intangibles of, not just the marketing element, not just good quality work, but really kind of spending time with the customer, treating them well, the LTV. I mean, that's something that I think is overlooked today. I think people, need to get back to really focusing on the customer and not just the metrics in the funnel. So I guess, as we think about that, do you agree with the statement? Because we did a survey here at Valpak Clipp where we kind of looked to small business owners and tried to get their perspective on AI. Well, some of the sentiment was that AI is compressing the funnel and that people skip steps to kind of get instant answers, which is creating few intercept moments for marketers to really kind of come in there and tell them, my story is better than my competitor's story. Do you agree with that statement? It kind of sounds like, you almost embrace that statement because, if you're competing, you're going to win. But I'm just curious your thoughts there.
It is happening. I mean, Google's making its own assumptions based on user-created content, which are reviews and other things out there. When you really study, everything works off of an algorithm. AI works off of an algorithm. It's literally finding clues. So if you learn how to kind of manipulate the algorithm, you could win. But what I would say is, what are you doing for rehash? The ones you don't close? What kind of follow-up systems? How are you reactivating your customer list? There's so much money that people ignore. You do an email blast once a month, but you didn't work on the title. You don't know how many people opened it. You're not listening to the math. You didn't have a good subject line. Like your domain's burnt out. You never got any opt-ins for text messaging. We got a whole thing that if you're going to get a 0 and not earn the client's business, you got to call into a manager. We save 60% of those. We figure out a way to earn the client's business. So I see things are getting harder, but the systems and the software we use and the way we follow up with customers and the way we get back in their homes a year later, and we got 50,000 service agreements, it's just next level things. And there's so many companies that are doing it right. There's so many companies that I go out and visit with and they teach me. But these little fundamentals, and it's so easy to complain and blame your marketing company. It's so easy to call the PPC company and say Valpak's not working. But then you look at it and you're like, well, why is your cancel? Today is Thursday. You're not open on the board till Monday. If I got a broken hot water heater that's leaking, I'm not waiting till Monday. Yeah. So these little things, knowing the score really matters. And I think a lot of the people out there, it's getting harder. There's no doubt. This is when the yellow book took a shift. I had no chance to build a business because everyone had the double trucks. I could not buy the front of the yellow book. It was impossible. So I came in 2007. I ran it into the yellow book on the 7th page. And all of a sudden, Google was there. And that's how I built the business. And I posted ads. I posted 100 ads a day on Craigslist. And I went and I started doing Thumbtack and Yelp and started focusing it. And so now there's another shift going on. The people that are dependent on Google, the people that are like just 100% PPC, like we're spending a lot of money on social media. We had to master social media leads. And it's a different intent, but it's a different cycle, the way the customers kind of want to buy. But when you learn to just be diversified, don't spray and pray, use math to win, uh, you can win at anything. And I just feel bad for the one-trick ponies that are just dependent. They say, Valpak used to work, but it doesn't work. Well, I'm on the phone with you guys twice a month for an hour. We're going through and you're like, let's get rid of these 3 zones. Let's do a double here. Let's do the +1 on these. And every time you tell us something based on your data, Benji is one of the smartest guys on the planet when it comes to data science that works with Valpak.
Yep.
It's working. And I listen. And instead of telling them what I want, they tell me what to do because you guys are the master. You guys have 36,000 clients that are winning. And so I'm just going to listen to the masters. And what you tell me to do works. And it's worked every single time.
Well, we appreciate that. I think that's, a key learning for a lot of businesses is that, data is only as good as the insights you derive from it, and being able to use those insights to make quick decisions and trusting the partners that know how to do that. And I think that's kind of leading into the next question. Our research showed that 41% of business owners now are trusting AI platforms to optimize their marketing for them. 32% report some difficulties with the AI-driven advertising. But I guess in your opinion, when we think about optimization, cost cutting, leveraging the tools that exist today, but then also the human element of that, of where do humans need to stay in the mix to put that element of, whether it's emotional intelligence, whether it's deriving insights to be able to make quick decisions. Well, how do you balance kind of humans staying in the loop versus using the tools that are available to you today?
Yeah. So right now, I'll give you the biggest example is who's answering the phone. The models are getting better each month. And, what I do is I look at, we got to pay attention to the full cycle of the client and really be able to measure this. But if I can't get to that phone call, then I'm going to have AI answer it. And right now, this past week, AI is at an 86%. We're at a 91%. There will be a day in the next year that AI beats us. Now, my job is not to fire everybody; it's to repurpose them, but go on a hiring freeze. So there's a lot of tools out there. A dispatcher used to be able to handle one dispatcher for 12 techs. Now I'm going to handle one dispatcher for 50 techs because the AI is working in the background. Embrace the tools, use them, master them, track them, but know when to take know when to go all in on these things. I mean, we use Chirp to follow up. I mean, you guys should partner with Chirp, I think, for Valpak clients because it does all the follow up. My buddy in Ohio, when somebody doesn't book the call, his first week did $300,000 because it says, sorry we missed your call, or sorry we didn't book the call. He had a special campaign. When you don't close a deal, it follows up. When you need the yearly service agreements to go out, it follows up with that. It's an automation tool. And so use the tools that are available. And these tools aren't set it and forget it. You got to live in these tools every day. You got to be working on them. You got to be trying different scripts. You got to be coaching the scripts. But once you learn to kind of slowly go in and get better and better and better, it's the unfair advantage because my overhead's going to be half of yours because we're really using AI. Yep. And that means my gross profits are higher. That means I can put more money into marketing. My comm goes down. And I know this stuff sounds very, very confusing, but if you're able to go out there, meet the people, read the books, get involved. I mean, that's my job as the founder of this business is to find the newest things. And by the way, not everything works. We fail a lot. Some of the stuff doesn't work. I'd say half the stuff doesn't work. We fail, we get out, we try the next one, it works. And then we go all in on it.
Love it. Before we jump into the next section here, I just wanted to ask, are there any questions from the audience out there to Ivy? Is there anything in the chat to ask Tommy?
We had one question, but Tommy has already answered it.
Fantastic. Well, cool. All right. Well, if anybody has any questions, we'll ask again. Please feel free to put them out there. One thing I did want to touch on, because I think a lot of people on the call and a lot of people that will watch this, look at, everybody's seen the cars that they're driving by with the image. It's branding. It's everybody understands A1 is high quality. If you're a brand starting today, and you're getting into a hyper competitive space, are there any insights or thoughts that you have around building that brand memory we talked about earlier, about like making people understand that if they're going to search, that you become top of mind? Like, what insights could you take from what you've learned over the past 20 years doing this that might be helpful to somebody else out there right now?
There's a book called Branded, Not Blanded by Dan Antonelli. And what I could tell you is when you go into a market, you want to get different. You don't want to be red, white, and blue when every single HVAC company is red, white, and blue. You want to stand out. You want to put a trademark and copyright. You don't want anybody to be able to copycat you. And when you do this, your yard signs match the trucks. Your website matches the trucks and the yard signs. Your email signature matches. The brand's got to be fully integrated on the walls in the building with the shirts, with the logos. Like everything is this brand. And then we've all heard that stories are the best way to do it. So instead of saying we're the cheap discount garage doors, I know what kind of clients I attract when I do discount. We're a premier company that's going to be out there the same day when you need us with a background check, very talented individual that's going to make your door safe, and it's going to be safe around your family. We're going to get it fixed right the first time. It's the right way, not the easy way. So you come up with a jingle. We've got the A one from day one. It's memorable. People get annoyed by it. They're like, but they start chanting it and singing it. They're like, I can't get your damn jingle out of my head. So these little things make a big difference. And then just that top of funnel. And I just tell stories. And I'm like, I remember the day when I walked in my garage and garages meant freedom. There was a 1976 125cc Kawasaki. And I'm just telling a story about when I was a kid, a true story. People are like, man, that reminds me of my first motorcycle or whatever. So you got to know your avatar. You got to know what you're doing. But if you want to stand out, you got to have people get to know you. People buy from people, not businesses. So who is the founder? What do they represent? What are their core values? Why would I want to buy from them? And if you do that correctly, that's how people want to work for you too. And I think you got to stand for something. And what do you stand
I love it. Great answer there. And I think, that element is huge, building the branding element. When we think about, media mix, I know a lot of people that joined today are from the home service industry. And I know, it's a hyper competitive industry. Private equity is getting more involved in it. When we think about a resilient marketing strategy today, and whether we talk about percentage of, what's driving top of funnel, what's driving re-engagement of leads that are lost, what's driving the branding spend, how do you think about, I love the kind of test, learn, fail fast, move, and scale quick. That kind of ideology, I think, is really important. And it's another thing you said earlier, too, about sticking with something for a longer period of time and not just making an assessment that it doesn't work, but actually trying to learn how to make it work. Something like you mentioned with Valpak, using the data to drive insights. In your mind, if you're a home service company today and you're thinking about a resilient marketing strategy, whether you think about it from product or you think about it from percent of spend, how do you think about what should people be thinking about, at least as they build their marketing strategy, the attribution, and using that to drive, high demand leads for them?
So look, marketing won't work if you're not booking the phone calls and the form fills. Then you've got to lower your cancellation rate, increase your conversion rate when you're face to face. And then you got to look at your average ticket offer more. And then you got to minimize your CPL, cost per lead. I mean, that's the whole matrix of how the conversion cycle works. But one of the things we started focusing on is the simple Google My Business page. You start getting reviews with pictures in them, and you start getting in that 3-pack and ranking. Even if you're only in the 3-pack, you're number 3, and you got way more reviews, they're going to click on you. And that doesn't cost much money. We use a company called Local Optics, and they're like GMB optimization. And literally we get more leads through our Google My Business page than we do from PPC or LSA. And then we try to have a location in different parts of the city that make it easier for us to have meetings and have the CSRs there, just easier to refill your stock. So that's one of the ways. I mean, look, I sit down for an hour a week just looking at LSA, how to make that stronger. I think if you put attention into it, I think a lot of people just hire a marketing agency and they go, we just need leads, but they don't book the phone calls. Their hours aren't open. They're not dispatching the right way. They're not looking at the facts. So I think operationally, I told my COO this, and this is really important. I said, look, if we're losing, let's say we're at 85% booking rate, we're losing 15%. Then we're getting a 10% cancellation. So we add 15 and 10%. Then we're at 75% conversion rate. We're at 25%. You add up 15, 10, and 25, half of the leads are going to the competition. And those are good KPIs. So how are we going to blame marketing when half the stuff coming in, we're not earning those clients business?
Yep.
So we could blame marketing, But if we're not trying to fight for every call, and then when we're in their home, fight for their business, and then when they cancel, say, what can we do to change your mind, and fight for everything. Fight like it's your last client. You're never going to win. And by the way, we're a big company. We're one of the bigger garage door companies. There are thousands of people that want to take us down, that are hungry, that are working Sundays, that are implementing these things. So if you think you're going to have this career of just, yeah, I want to spend time with family and I love spending time with family. Someone wants it more. You can't have this lifestyle business. You got to go all in. You got to hire the right people. You got to be on attack mode. Someone's waiting to take it all from you. And I think there's a lot of people that are like, yeah, sure. If you want to work 60 hours a week. And I'm like, what market are you in? Because that's the next market I'm going to. But I don't work 60 hours a week. I've got the best COO, the best CFO. We've got a really good team here of leadership. We've got the best trainers in the industry. But you're going to have to pay your dues. You're going to have to put in some time. And I'm sorry, life's not balanced. It's off balance on purpose for a while. And you're going to have to go there and you're going to have to put in the hard work. And a lot of people everybody wants the views, but no one wants to take the hike.
Yeah, I love that perspective. I think, with Valpak Clipp, we've had the good fortune of kind of working with 65,000 advertisers across the entire U.S., all scale from Walmart down to small clientele and large mid-regionals. And I think the one thing that is a shift in the ones that we see are the most successful is marketing doesn't take you there alone, that it needs to be when the lead is generated, picking that lead up and making sure that the back end of that is hyper-focused in terms of delivery of your value proposition, treating the customer with respect. So I love that you focus on that because I think that's one of the most critical pieces to marketing that is usually left out of the marketing conversation. So I'm glad you're bringing that up. As we kind of wrap, I have a kind of lightning round, like 5 quick questions to ask you, and I want to just kind of get your thoughts on them. So
let's do it.
Will paid ads inside AI answers become the normal in the short term?
Will AI, what was the question?
Will paid ads inside AI become the normal here in the next 6 to 12 months?
Yeah, I mean, they're already starting to come out with them. I don't think they actually know how to monetize them exactly yet. But, OpenAI said you got to spend $100,000 a month to start. So do we have 100,000? Yes, we do. We're the first ones playing in there. And guess what? It's not going to work great. But by the time the next company goes in 4 months, when it's worked out, we're already mastered it. So yes, I do think they're going to come out with a paid model because these things are for profit in a capitalistic society. So he who could pay more per lead will win. Yes.
Yep. And they're preparing to IPO, at some point. So I think that's going to be another thing too. Is SEO dying or is it just evolving?
Well, search engine optimization means the LLMs as well. I think it's definitely diversified, but yeah, I mean, here's where it still works when people do research. When people are like, why is my garage door making noise? Long-term keywords. I still think SEO, people say don't pay attention to it much. Most people, unfortunately, are paying a company 10 grand a month. That's PPC, LSA, and SEO. They pay somebody in Thailand $12 a month to do something. They're not really building links. They're really not doing schema data. They're not working on the H1 tags. They're not looking at the bounce rate. You got to really put the time in to understand how this stuff works. But if you do it correctly, it's still working. And that's how the LLMs are finding you. Got it.
Appreciate that. What's one thing marketers should stop doing in 2026?
One thing marketers should stop doing? One thing marketers should stop doing. That's a really, really good question. Well, I was going to say complain because, it always seems like, man, the world's changing so fast. And it seems like everywhere I go, there's just so much complaining going on. And there's so much, I would say, educate yourself more and stop complaining is my best answer for that.
Cool. Yeah, I love that. And I guess, the flip side of that, what's one thing that marketers should double down on in 2026?
Education. Reading's free. Readers are leaders. Educate yourself. The quickest hack in life is get around the people that are already winning. I call it R&D, rip off and duplicate. Success leaves clues. Find the number one person on the planet. If someone's coming up on the LLM, call it a roofing company. Go call that roofing company and find out who they're using and buy them a Rolex if you could, whatever, buy them a steak dinner and find out a way to get the answers and say, listen, I'm not in the roofing industry. I'm not your competition. I'm going to help you out in any way I can. I'd love to pay. Here's a $500 gift card. I just want to learn from you. Most people will say yes.
Awesome. Do you have any other advice or closing thoughts for the audience here?
Look, what I had to realize is I wanted to be the dumbest guy in the room. As the CEO of this company, I wanted a company that runs better than me, better without me than with me. When I leave, I build the vision of the company. I walk into my COO's office and he's light years ahead of me. I put 4 books on my COO's desk this week and he reads them and he listens to the podcast. He's raising the ceiling. My CFO, super smart guy, could run circles around me. He found $2 million. We did our own Doge program and he found $2 million of the business last year. I've surrounded myself with people that are so intelligent. Their EQ is high. Their IQ is high. I used to have this ego of like, I want to be the guy with the answers. And now I'm like, I don't want to have to be here. I want this business to run without me, but I still want to build the vision. And I want to pay more than anybody. And I want them to have equity in the company. And I want them to sprint like I sprint. And now that it's here, it's the best gift. I would say, look, it's not easy to build this. It takes time. It's 2 decades for me. But I would just encourage you, like, hire really smart people, get around the right people, hang out in the right rooms. If you want to get in shape, hang out with people that are in shape. If you want to be a better golfer, hang out with people that are great at golf. If you want to be a great dad, hang out with people that are great dads and watch how quick your life changes. Get around the right people and ask for help. That's my best advice.
I love that. I want to say your vibe attracts your tribe. So, I mean, yeah, you surround yourself with really good people and it's going to be a good vibe. Well, Tommy, I really appreciate you joining here today. I mean, your insights, you built a $300 million company, you're navigating all these shifts in real time. And I think one thing that I've learned, working with you and just watching you is you're always willing to give advice and you have seminars and you teach business owners how to do things. And that's really impressive that, sharing the information and just rising tide, lifting all boats. So, the next generation of marketing leaders coming up, I really hope that they can listen to this and really extract some insights. So I do want to say to everybody listening, thank you. If you have any interest in the data points that we shared here today from the proprietary study that we did on AI, we will send out the link to that. And also, if you found the conversation useful, share this with someone who's looking to build their own legend. So, Tommy, thanks for everything. We really appreciate you attending and appreciate everybody joining today. Cheers. Have a great day.
Thank you.